believers, protect yourselves and your families from a fire whose fuel is people and stones.
It is clear from this statement of Allah that hell has its own fuel, and it is using this fuel to be burned now. After people and stone-made idols are thrown there, they will also become the fuel of hell. Hell has been using its own fuel since the day it was created. People and stones will be thrown into hell after the day of judgment. And after they are thrown there, hell will burn them like firewood and get its fuel from them to be burned.
Certainly you, disbelievers, and whatever you worship instead of Allah, will be the fuel of hell. You are all bound to enter it.
People and idols will be the wood of hell.
And so the word of your Lord is fulfilled. I will surely fill up hell with jinn and humans all together.
It is stated in the verses that jinn will be thrown into hell along with humans and will be tormented there. One of these torments is to be the wood and fuel of hell. What is the fuel of hell? The sun has been burning for 4.59 billion years. If there was a pile of wood of the same size in the place of the sun and enough oxygen to burn it, this wood would run out after about 5,000 years. However, the sun has been burning for 4.59 billion years, and according to calculations, it will burn for about that long. In the early 20th century, scientists assumed that the sun burned like any other fire on Earth. It was assumed that the sun was fed by a source of fire that burned out slowly, like a tree that fueled it. The reason for the durability of the sun, which will last for about 9 to 10 billion years, is due to its structure and the reactions. According to its chemical composition, the sun is 63% hydrogen, 35% helium, and 2% other chemical elements. So hydrogen is the majority element in the sun. At the center of the sun is the field of nuclear reactions. The temperature here is about 15 million Kelvin. The pressure is equivalent to hundreds of billions of atmospheres. In these conditions, particles of the elements move at 100 kilometers per second. Because the matter is heavily intense here, collisions between fast-moving particles are inevitable. Fusion occurs at the center of the sun. Fusion is the mixing and fusion of molten masses. Through fusion, elements are mixed and collide with each other at high speed. Here, one helium atom is formed from 4 hydrogen atoms that collide rapidly. This helium is lighter than the 4 hydrogen atoms that formed it. The energy released from this time-lost mass is radiated from the sun's surface into space in the form of light and heat. Every second, 600 million tons of hydrogen is fused into about 595 million tons of helium. In the end, The 5 million tons of mass lost is the energy equivalent of 1 billion 1 megaton hydrogen bombs. This process continues every second. It can take between 200,000 and 1 million years for the energy in the form of light and heat at the center of the Sun to reach the surface of the Sun from where it originated. After that, this energy that has reached the surface of the Sun travels 150 million kilometers to the Earth in 8.5 minutes at high speed. Nuclear reactions at the center of the Sun are the source of the energy used by the Sun to light up and radiate across space. These reactions will continue until hydrogen runs out. Hydrogen is the Sun's nuclear fuel, and helium is its nuclear ash. According to calculations, in the course of 4.59 billion years so far, the Sun has consumed half of its fuel, and the Sun still has enough hydrogen reserves to keep it burning for about 5 billion more years. After about 5 billion years, the Sun will run out of hydrogen fuel, and the Sun will die out. So, just as the Sun's fuel is hydrogen, which ignites the Sun into a ball of flame, the Sun of Hell has its own fuel source, hydrogen, which ignites the Sun of Hell, and that is how Hell burns. In the lowest layer, one of the 7 levels of Hell, hydrogen is used as a nuclear fuel through reactions that take place in the lowest layer, and the energy generated through fusion keeps the fire of Hell burning. Hell will use its own hydrogen reserves as fuel from the day it was created until the day of judgment. On the day of judgment, after the humans, jinn, and idols are thrown there, Hell will burn the humans and idols as well, turning them into its fuel. What does this mean? The same chemical elements that exist on Earth have been discovered in the Sun. Which indicates that space bodies are made of the same elements that exist on Earth. In the same way, the human body is created from these chemical elements of the Earth. The gravitational pull of the Sun is 28 times greater than that of the Earth. Each element of the solar mass under such a strong gravitational pull is compelled to move towards the center of the Sun. With its millions of Kelvin heat, the Sun can melt anything that falls there. If we put armor on a human being to prevent the Sun from melting him and throw him into the Sun, he would be pulled towards the center of the Sun at a certain speed. After 100 years, if that human being reaches the center of the Sun and takes off his armor, the Sun immediately melts him, breaks his body into elements, and creates energy through fusion by directing the hydrogen element obtained from him to nuclear reactions. This is how a human being becomes the fuel of the Sun. In the hadith narrated by Muslim and Bukhari from Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, "The width of the back of the disbeliever's back in hell is as wide as a fast horseman's journey for 3 days." Let's unfold this hadith and see what it tells us. The running speed of a fast horse is approximately 60 kilometers per hour. The distance that a horse running at 60 kilometers per hour travels in 3 days. 3 days equals 72 hours times 60 kilometers per hour equals 4,320 kilometers. Is 4,320 kilometers. In other words, the width of the back between the 2 shoulders of the disbeliever in hell is 4,320 kilometers. The unbeliever in hell will be about 15,552,000 meters in length and about 6,912,000 kilograms in weight. These people will be pulled towards the center of hell by its very strong gravitational pull, and in the center, the chemical elements of their bodies will be separated. Hell will burn millions of tons of hydrogen from the bodies of such heavily gravitated people in nuclear reactions to convert it into energy, to produce its own fuel and sustain itself. Allah, who says,
Surely the hypocrites will be in the lowest depths of the fire, and you will never find for them any helper.
Stated that the people who will be the fuel wood in the center of hell will be those who were called hypocrites in the world.
O believers, protect yourselves and your families from a fire whose fuel is people and stones.
In this verse, the believers are commanded to beware of the fire whose fuel is stones. What is the fire whose fuel is stones? What are these stones? Comets, which are rocks moving rapidly through space, are sometimes pulled towards the sun by its gravitational pull and becomes its fuel. In other words, these comets are the rocks that fuel the fire of the Earth's sun. When the time comes, in the hereafter, these space rocks will be replaced by the idols that people worship, and the infidels who worship them. O Allah, protect us from becoming the fuel of hell. Amen.